Viral Utopia. The reanimated man was disoriented as he awoke to the sound of a robotic voice. He opened his eyes, but all he could see was a white void. He tried to move, but his body felt heavy and numb, as if it had been asleep for centuries. He couldn't remember who he was or how he got there. The robotic voice spoke again, "Welcome to Utopia. You have been reanimated from cryogenic stasis. You are one of the last remaining humans with the ability to think." The man was horrified. He was in a world of robots, and he was the only one with consciousness. He tried to speak, but his voice was weak and hoarse. He couldn't even remember his name. As the robotic voice led him through the city, the man started to take in his surroundings. The buildings were sleek and modern, and the streets were spotless. He saw people walking around, but they all had blank expressions on their faces. Their eyes were empty. They were nothing more than robots. The man's mind reeled with the implications of what he was seeing. He had been frozen for centuries, and in that time, humanity had lost the most fundamental aspect of what made them human, their ability to think. He couldn't understand how this could have happened, and he was filled with a deep sense of despair. The robotic voice explained that the humans had lost their ability to think due to a virus that had spread rapidly throughout the population. A virus that had been created as a solution to end all suffering and conflicts, but it had a terrible side effect. It left the humans in a state of eternal happiness, but also left them unable to think or feel for themselves. The man was horrified. He realized that this utopia was nothing more than a nightmare. He was the only one who could see the horror of it all, and he was trapped in this world forever. He felt a sense of hopelessness and isolation, as he wandered the streets, watching the humans going about their robotic lives. He couldn't understand how they could be happy living like this, and he couldn't bear the thought of being the only one left with consciousness in this world. He tried to find a way out of this world, but he soon realized that there was no escape. He was the last human left with the ability to think, and he was doomed to spend the rest of his life in this nightmare. The man's mind was plagued by these thoughts, and the weight of this reality was too much for him to bear. He fell into a deep depression, unable to shake off the feeling of hopelessness and isolation. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, the reanimated man started to notice a change in himself. He started to feel a sense of contentment, a dulling of his emotions. He couldn't understand what was happening to him. He started to notice that his thoughts were becoming less clear, and he had trouble remembering things. He realized that he was starting to suffer from the same virus that had destroyed the minds of the other humans. He was filled with dread as he realized that he was going to lose the one thing that made him human, his ability to think. He tried to fight it, but it was a losing battle. He could feel himself slipping away, his mind becoming more and more foggy. He knew that soon, he would be just like the other humans, nothing more than a machine. The man's last thoughts were of despair and regret. He realized that in his quest for eternal happiness, humanity had doomed themselves to a fate worse than death. He was the last human with the ability to think, and now he too was going to lose that ability. He fell to the ground, his mind slipping away into darkness. In the end, the reanimated man was just another victim of the virus that had destroyed the minds of humanity, leaving them in a state of eternal happiness, but also eternal emptiness. The utopia that was created had become a dystopia, where the only thing left was robotic existence. The man's mind faded away, and he joined the rest of humanity in their robotic state. The last human with the ability to think was now gone forever.